Hi all. Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Hi everybody. Well, my goodness, we're covering a lot in this video. Now, at the very end, I have my own Netflix trailer that I've put up. I hope you enjoy that. I've also got a message that I'm sending out. So make sure you watch till the very end, and I hope you enjoy this video.
All right, I'm starting out with this story this morning. Now, I did show you this the other day, but some more pictures have come up since then of Sophie accepting this award from Hillary Clinton. I mean, what did I tell you guys? How did I say that? Secret weapon Sophie. That's it. She flew to New York, no fanfare. Nobody was aware she was there. She went in, accepted this award. She was so touched that during the speech, she actually had to leave the podium and go get a tissue. Like, seriously, you guys, she's fabulous. Subscriber SPF noted Sophie won that award for being a trailblazer on women's rights. She didn't buy it, she earned it. Let's see what other news comes out while she's in New York. All right, next up, Explore Your Archives Week, Day 8. Now, supposedly in history, Queen Victoria said the famous words, "We are not amused." And there's no proof she said that, but she did write in her journal on the 8th of September, 1838, that she was astonished and amused after falling off of her horse. Unbelievable. All right, moving on. Next up, last week, the Earl of Wessex went to St. Andrews to celebrate with them their 156th birthday. It was very special because apparently his father, the Duke of Edinburgh, who had been their patron for over 70 years, visited twice, and he opened the current site in 1984. Very nice. All right, next up we have Princess Beatrice and her mother Sarah, the Duchess of York, and husband. They attended the Lady Garden Gala 2022 at Claridge's Hotel on December 6th in London. Next up, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, is going to have her second annual Christmas Carol concert. I hope this becomes a yearly thing that just continues on. We know it's going to be star-studded and fabulous. Now, of course, we've heard that Harry and Meghan are dropping their next set of trailers on the same day. I think they're going to be sorely disappointed because I think this is going to be the big thing. All right, moving on. Now, of course, they're reporting that the family is going to put on a show of unity. I mean, what else would they do? All right, moving on. Tonight, the Prince and Princess of Wales went to a diplomatic reception at Buckingham Palace. Now, this happens every year, but I do believe this is the first one since the Queen died. Now, the tiara that Camilla is wearing is the Belgian sapphire tiara and the George VI sapphire, suite of earrings and necklace. They both look lovely. And I have to say, I really like that red dress on Catherine. Red is definitely a good color for her. I also like that different tiara. I don't think I've ever seen that one on her before. And of course, the drop earrings. She always looks so glamorous. And everybody, again, looks fabulous. And I just want to say that it looks like they're not stressed out. They're doing what they usually do. They're just moving on. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's go. The king went to Luton today. Here's a little video of him arriving. Watch this. All right, now the king walked around, and I'm showing you this next clip because it was so cute. This woman was so cute when she met Charles. Listen to this.
Welcome. Welcome, King Charles to Luton. Welcome to Luton. Welcome to Luton. Lovely to see you.
I hope we're not interrupting all your whatever you're meant to be doing. It's very nice to come to Luton.
We're volunteers.
I don't know what I've done.
Welcome to Luton.
Thank you very much.
I got that record.
Did you record it?
Yeah, he shook my hand and record.
Did you record me?
Yeah, no, he got a little.
Now, Charles went into the building, and while he was there, he received a traditional shawl for meditation in the prayer hall. You know, I have to tell you, even sitting on the floor, cross-legged with, whatever that is supposed to be on his head, he looks very regal. The king then met volunteers who operate a 24-hour-a-day kitchen that feeds locals, I hope I say this right, at the newly built Guru Nanak Gurdwara in Luton. All right, next up is DART, which is an energy-efficient electric cable car that transports train arrivals at Luton Parkway to the airport, and it reduces carbon emissions by 70%. So the king met staff and apprentices who work on this and then took a ride on it. Pretty cool. Charles really looks like he's having a good time. Next up, the Dallow Primary School. Their pupils met the king at the Luton Town Hall. He continued to walk around greeting people, and then he greeted a group of young people from the Ghana community. Looks today like the entire visit was a great success. I think it went well. People just generally like this man, and what's not to like? I think he did a great job. All right, moving on. All right, next up, I hope I say this right, Renee Denison was able to hand over his credentials from Queen Marguerite to King Charles. Very nice. All right, we're heading over into Harry and Meghan territory. So, of course, they arrive in New York to accept the Ripple of Hope Award. And wouldn't you know it, they flew in on a private jet. Is anybody surprised by this? I'm not. They don't even make a pretense of caring about their carbon footprint anymore. It's become a running joke. Looks like they brought a whole bunch of staff with them. These are probably the same people that she was yelling at in the parking garage. I showed you those pictures from A Night with Meghan. Anyway, like I said, they really don't care about the environment at this point. They land, and what do? They hop into huge gas-guzzling SUVs so they can be whisked to the hotel to get ready for, this, whatever the hell this is. I hope that the head of Ukraine ignores them. Sits at the table and ignores them. That's what I hope. But Meghan was never going to turn down this chance. She's going to be knocking people the hell out of the way to get to that award. And Harry will be trailing right behind her. Moving on. So the awards start off, and the person who shows up is Alec Baldwin, the guy who killed that cinematographer. Watch this. Gayle King came through trying to pull a Princess Catherine not. And just out of curiosity, what's with that carpet and the floor? Like, what is that? So Harry and Meghan show up, and the first thing I noticed was there was none of the yelling and screaming like there were for Catherine and William. Second of all, Kerry Kennedy wouldn't let go of Harry. It was the weirdest thing. It was like, she just couldn't let go. Here's a video. Watch this.
Sorry. Hi, Princess. Are you excited for tonight? Where's your dress from? Congrats on your award.
Now, just to show you the difference, when they arrived out front, here's what happened with Catherine and William. Remember this? Here's what happened when Meghan and Harry arrived to walk in. Listen to this.
Harry, over here. Harry, what do you think about destroying the royal family? Meghan, you destroyed the royal family.
Sorry, guys, not even close. Then the Daily Mail puts out the news that this design is almost identical to Catherine's, so she copycatted her, and there was a thigh-high slit. So instead of the shirt being unbuttoned, she's showing something else. And just to show you how copycat and how Catherine lives in Meghan's head, you see how Catherine's wearing the choker. Meghan wore Diana's aquamarine ring. Yep. And thank you, Duchess of M, for that. And I agree with Evans Einstein here. This is how you wear an off-the-shoulder white outfit. Yep. You know, I just cannot imagine living life with somebody else in your head that you're constantly trying to emulate and copycat. I couldn't live like that. Now, I'm sure there'll be more pictures and more stories tomorrow, and if there are, I will cover it at that time. In the meantime, let's move on. So going back to that whole Netflix trailer, it's pretty obvious that Meghan Markle is so jealous of Catherine. And you know how they're saying that the palace was leaking stories? Actually, Harry and Meghan have been accused of leaking stories in the past. But maybe the palace did. Maybe the staff they bullied was leaking the stories, you know? Kinsey Schofield, who we all know, we watch her on TV all the time, she had a lot to say about this. Listen to this.
Well, I wrote down some words when I saw that for the first time. Desperate and pathetic is and I've never been so ugly about Harry and Meghan. I've tried to be as cautious as I can, because if you are too critical of them, you're labeled a racist, which is just, the obvious. But I've never been so disappointed in them in my life. It felt desperate. It felt pathetic. You've been telling your story for the last 3 years. In fact, we can't shut you up. Was Finding Freedom not your story? What was the Oprah sit down? To me, it's just unacceptable, and it's gross.
I agree with what Genevieve said. You know, you married a prince in a 20 million pound wedding. You only did 72 working engagements. You took private jets everywhere, loads of holidays, and yet all you've done is whine. So going back to the whole Netflix thing, there's a lot of backlash from these PR stunts of what they've been doing. That, using pictures from Harry Potter. I mean, Harry's trying so hard to make it look like Meghan was chased by the paparazzi, but she never was. It's being said the trailer is beyond a parody. That, if you went out to make a comic spoof, this is what you would do. Now, we all know that one of the pictures put up in the documentary was of Meghan and Harry walking towards Desmond Tutu, I believe it was, with the baby. Well, Robert Jobson is the one who took that photo. And he had something to say about all this. Listen to this.
There's one that I know of, because I was one of the 3 reporters inside Archbishop Tutu's house when there's a picture of them walking along with the baby. We were standing next to the press officer who'd accredited us there and cleared it with Harry and Meghan. So, the camera does lie if it's put in a narrative that's not true. And nothing like that. You can't use you say you were hounded by the media and using photographs of photographers outside a red carpet for a premiere and say they were there for you. It's a blatant lie. And the other thing is, and so to say that they had the same issues, maybe Harry had it in his mind, but it certainly didn't happen in reality. And I'm not the only one saying that. Other people were there at the time. Look, if you have got footage of what was going on, then use the footage, but don't use things that are completely trying to portray something that isn't true. Just because it doesn't suit your narrative, you can't just put in things, photographs that are simply nothing to do with you.
Now, as you can see, they're now claiming that the footage was not meant to be taken literally. Does that mean that their love story isn't literal? Right. Basically, Harry and Meghan now are saying they did not have editorial control over the trailer themselves. Right. Now, a blind item dropped that said the editor is responsible for the fake photo outside the Harry Potter movie, and the other photo, which looks sneaky, taken from above, was a photo personally approved by the illiterate one, and she knew the photographer was there. Now, I just want to throw this in also. Another blind item dropped that said that Spotify will not be renewing Archetypes. Like, we knew that one. I don't think anybody else is going to pick it up. Moving on, it's been reported by Neil Sean that Harry tried to get David Beckham and his wife Victoria into that docuseries, and they refused. Smart people. Now, before we look at some more stuff from there that's fake, Julia from Talk TV, she had something to say about this whole mess. I agree with her, so listen to this.
As millions of people do have their Christmas travel plans thrown into chaos by the RMT union, as millions of people can't ever afford to buy a home and probably won't ever be able to because the government has dropped their house building targets once again over pressure from the Tory MPs in the Shires. As we learned today that thousands of parents can't even afford to buy baby formula and they're having to water it down so that they can feed their babies, which will have a knock-on impact for years in their child's nutrition and development. We're told we're supposed to be worrying about a very rich couple living in a multi-million-dollar mansion over on the other side of the world in California because there's a hierarchy in the royal family. Give me a break, Prince Harry, love. Give me a break. When you're born into that level of privilege, and when, Meghan, you marry that level of privilege, when you have your health, your riches, your marriage, your babies, I'm not entirely sure that you're in a position to tell everyone else how terrible and awful your life is. It's particularly a bad move when people are genuinely worrying at this time of the year about whether they can put their heating on, whether they can afford to buy a Christmas dinner for their family or any gifts at all. And no, when the railways aren't running, they can't get on Elton John's private jet to see their families. So when you are one of the wealthiest couples in the world, one of the most sort of venerated couples in the world, indeed winning awards for your humanitarian activities in fighting racism, maybe it's a good idea not to do a 6-part documentary about how terrible your lot in life is when other people are facing genuine suffering this Christmas.
Spot on, my friend, spot on. Now, let's move on. I like what was put up by the body language guy. If you make a documentary about an athlete's career, but use stock videos of other athletes, would it be credible? But make a documentary about a couple that thinks they're being stalked, but you haven't got any real footage to prove it, so you're using stock images and photos. Yeah, what does that say? It shows that while you're trying to make us believe that she's Diana 2.0, stalked like Diana, treated like Diana, it's not true. Now let's get back into the meat of it. Do you see this picture where people are yelling out, "We love you, Meghan, we love you"? You may not have noticed, but these photos where he's saying, "I cannot protect you," are from the exact same event where they're wearing the exact same clothing. So then I looked at this next, bit of pictures. And all I could think of was, this is obviously taking place in the Archewell Audio offices, not in their house. Who's taping them? Who's watching this? You know what I mean? Now, I found another discrepancy. Do you guys remember I showed you this? This is from the Rewired interview. See the shirt that Harry's wearing? Then I showed you this picture, same shirt from Harry, same shirt from Meghan. Look here, same shirt from Meghan, same shirt from Harry. Yep, this is where supposedly they're being chased by the paparazzi. Now notice outside the windows, it's not raining. It's completely dry outside. You see that? And yet, these are the photos that come up next where they're basically suggesting to you that they're being chased. But those photos were taken at a different time of day and it's raining. This next thing I want to show you is going to go by really quickly. This is Harry and Meghan walking away after showing Archie. And you see there's no flashes of any cameras. For about a second and a half, though, this is what they showed us. Watch this. Night Owl, I completely agree with you. If you repeat a lie enough, it becomes the truth, and that's what they're trying to do. All right, now, as much as I hate to do it, we got to talk about Christopher Bouzy, because he's on the prowl again. He's trying to get Taz and them knocked offline. He's repeatedly bringing up Taz, Murky Meg, and Yankee Wally. And I'm sure he'll get around to me eventually. But with that being said, not before they're done investigating him. The Daily Mail has been given all of his information from Bitcoin scamming to the bankruptcy, like everything. So let's see where it all goes, shall we? Bonnie Bell, yes, they are actually looking into him now, doing a complete investigation. So all those people who did stories on him without looking into things are going to look like idiots. Now, you guys know that I've done my own video before called The Soul Sucker. Well, I did some tweaks and I've got my own Netflix documentary now. Watch this. One more bit of information I wanted to throw out. Thank you to Linda for this. On the Goodman versus Bouzy update, Christopher Bouzy has filed an entry of appearance. So the attorneys have to go in and explain why he ignored this lawsuit for a year. And seeing as how he tweeted about it every other day and what a joke it was, I don't see the default judgment going anywhere.
Deep breath, everybody. Deep breath. Courage, stamina. I am waiting patiently to be thrown offline. I'm waiting patiently for Christopher Bouzy to cast his eye back on me. At the same time, I want to thank Andy from Popcorn Planet, because it was Andy who had me on and allowed me to tell what Christopher Bouzy had done to myself and my family. And I was able to give him the paperwork from Jason Goodman's lawsuit and the bankruptcy paperwork, which he then passed on to Nate. And as a result, LawTube is able to fight the fight that myself, Taz, Meg, Yankee Wally, that we had been fighting for a year and we'd gotten nowhere. So a big thank you to Andy from Popcorn Planet and to Nate, for picking up the baton and doing what we had been unable to do. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
All right, you guys, Finn and Toodles update. Tigger is still hiding, but I found them today napping together. Watch this. I think I'm catching something here. Are you two making friends? Look at that tail. Hey, Bubbly. Oh. Hey, Toodles. Okay, go back to sleep. All right, now we're going to finish off with this picture of the tin of the English breakfast tea from Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee that was gifted to me tonight. I love this. So make sure to leave your comments below. Make sure to click that button to subscribe. If you've already hit the button, please double check and make sure you're still subscribed, okay? If you want to follow me on Twitter, Getter, Rumble, or you want to email me, everything is in the description box along with a link to my Patreon account. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund and through the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.